Well, I'm really excited to talk to Dr. Karen St. Germain from NASA. She's going to talk to us about a partnership between NASA and the Indian Space Research Organization. There's a collaboration with hardware for the first time, and let's talk a little bit about this. What can you tell us?
Well, we are really excited for the launch next week of a mission called NISAR. It stands for NASA-ISRO Synthetic Aperture Radar, and it is the most sophisticated radar NASA's ever launched. And it's the first major collaboration with the Indian Space Agency.
This is really cool. So you've got basically more or less a couple of very sensitive radars, and you're going to be mapping all of the Earth's surfaces, land, and I guess glacier surfaces as well?
Yeah, that's right. Both radars operate through one enormous antenna. This antenna is about 39 feet in diameter, and it transmits pulses down to the Earth and measures the signal that bounces back. And from that, we can see changes in the Earth's surface and structures at the centimeter scale, so about half an inch, over areas a half a tennis court in size.
That's incredible. And there's like just this massive, massive volume of data, and you're going to be looking at this. And how will NASA and how will we be able to really apply some of the information that we get from this project?
Yeah, you're right. This mission will produce the most data of any mission we've ever launched in Earth science. And we'll use this data in a wide variety of ways. So keep in mind that the sensor can see anything that changes. So that means we can see changes in snow and ice in the mountains. That's really important for those who rely on that as a water source. But we can also see changes in coastlines. So for coastal communities like yours, that means that has impact for infrastructure decisions and navigation of those coastlines as well, and also vulnerability to things like floods and storm surges.
Well, here in Hampton Roads, we actually have one of the most vulnerable major metropolitan areas as far as sea level rise is concerned. So you're saying we can track little subtle differences along our own shorelines, but also I would think overall kind of, glacier coverage and the ice caps and monitor all of that along with sea level rise.
Yeah, that's right. So I mentioned the glaciers and the snow, but also things like earthquakes and volcanoes. We can often measure, we'll be able to measure very small changes in the surface that are precursors to things like volcanic eruptions and earthquakes. So, and also for agriculture, we'll be able to measure soil moisture with this instrument. So a lot of day-to-day applications will be enabled by the free and open data from the NISAR mission.
This is really cool. Now, I've been in this as a broadcast meteorologist. I started in May of '89, and at times we've had to rely so much just on kind of crude satellite imagery. Then it got better and better, of course, the radar improvements. But one thing that's somewhat tricky, these radars are going to be able to detect things even when there's cloud cover, things that we might not otherwise have access to. Isn't that right?
That's right. That's right. Radar can see through clouds, and it can also see through layers of vegetation. So this gives us an unprecedented ability to map these small changes, and that is going to give us an ability to predict events in advance and improve the ability of communities to plan for and then recover from any sort of event like this.
We think about the tragedy that happened in the Hill Country in Texas and in Kerr County, and I think about rescue missions and operations. Even this information can help like in emergency response if you are able to track some of these changes. How do you think NASA and researchers can use this information?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a team that supports emergency response. And in fact, when that tragedy in the Hill Country of Texas was unfolding, we overflew the region with instruments like NISAR, but they were on aircraft. So we were able to support from aircraft. NISAR will make us even more effective at supporting communities when they're trying to manage in a situation where they don't have a lot of information about a situation that's unfolding.
I got to ask you, the science community always comes together regardless of political boundaries and different, agendas around the world or whatever. It's exciting to see us partnering with India in this case. How excited is NASA to partner with this space organization, and what do you guys hope to learn from each other?
Well, it's been a really exciting partnership. We've learned a lot from one another because, as often happens in different cultures, we approach things a little bit differently. And this mission is stronger because we have those great systems from India, as well as the great work that we did out at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory on our side. We worked through the global pandemic together to integrate all of this hardware, test it, and bring it to the point where we are now, which is just about ready to launch.
Now, you have a huge role with NASA, and we were talking a little bit right before the start of the interview. What gets you most excited about this project? Is there anything on a personal level or on a professional level with what you've already done your work in that gets you most excited about what's coming up?
Yeah, well, science and studying the Earth is always really exciting. The discoveries are always really exciting. We will see things with NISAR that today we don't even anticipate we'll be able to see. But what gets me really excited is when we are doing science that enables people to make decisions where and when they need to make those decisions, whether it's a farmer, a mayor of a coastal town, or an emergency response team. Putting science in the hands of people who can use it is what really gets me fired up.
What about, as you now see what we are hoping to see and what we believe we're going to be able to get, the information, the data, did you ever think when you first started that we'd be able to get to this kind of resolution? Or is this something that you said, hey, I think we can get here with this technology? Is this something that you'd seen coming for a long time? Or is this, with all the advancements in technology and computing, what have you personally seen in kind of NASA's journey along this mission?
Yeah, that's a great question. We've been working on this mission for the better part of a decade. So a decade ago, we knew we should be able to get there, but it's been a lot of work to make it happen. Earlier in my career, I never thought we would be able to launch this kind of capability to see centimeter level changes from space. It's amazing.
It is incredible. Thank you so much for your work, and to your teams there at NASA. We can't wait to get that information and see what we can do with it. Dr. Karen St. Germain from NASA, thank you so much.
Thank you.